U.S. government now in a partial shutdown. There's a live shot of the U.S. Capitol. Lawmakers unable to cut a deal before the midnight deadline. They will return in hours to try to break this impasse.
White House officials, including presidential son-in-law Jared Kushner, showing up at the Capitol to engage in some last-minute bargaining on Friday. At issue here, funding for President Trump's signature campaign promise, that border wall.
And the blame game has already begun. President Trump says this shutdown is on the Democrats. But Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer tweeting out this video of the president in the Oval Office just last week, saying he'd be proud to shut down the government. We begin with ABC's White House correspondent Tara Palmieri at the White House for us this morning. Tara.
Good morning. It's President Trump's third government shutdown since becoming president, and his family's already taken off for Palm Beach. He's staying behind to try to get some sort of funding for the wall that he promised during the campaign. Overnight, the government partially shutting down just days before Christmas.
We're going to have a shutdown. There's nothing we can do about that because we need the Democrats to give us their votes.
The deadlock over the president's demand for a border wall.
Let's advance this legislation, Mr. President. Let's pass it. Let's finish our work for this year. Let's secure our country.
Despite Republican leadership in the House and Senate, the president failing to secure the votes for the $5 billion he needs to start building the wall.
You're not getting the wall today, next week, or on January 3rd when Democrats take control of the House.
The contentious negotiations coming to a head today. As of midnight, several federal agencies saw a large part of their funding come to a screeching halt. More than 400,000 federal employees temporarily working without pay. Essential employees in affected departments like the Department of Justice or Homeland Security will now have to report for work. For Customs and Border Protection employee Benita Brewer, this means her holiday leave is canceled.
Where I would be off of work and able to really enjoy time with family, I'll likely have to report into the office.
On Thursday night, House Republicans approved a spending deal through February 8th, allotting $5.7 billion for the wall, moving the vote to the Senate. But on Friday, the Senate barely reached 48 votes needed to bring the bills to the floor. Vice President Mike Pence stepping in to break the tie.
If Chuck Schumer and the Democrats decide they want to force a government shutdown because they're unwilling to support border security, I think that would be an extreme and irresponsible thing to do.
Leader Pelosi, Leader McConnell, and myself have done everything we can to avoid a shutdown. But President Trump wants one.
Last week, the president owning the shutdown.
I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it.
But Friday, putting the blame back on the Democrats.
It's up to the Democrats, so it's really the Democrat shutdown.
Mr. Vice President, what's the next step? Will the president accept?
Keep me posted.
Back now live with Tara. And Tara, the House and the Senate are back in session at noon today. Any sign at this point of a deal in the works?
Well, a lot of these lawmakers have gone home for the holidays. They will be given 24-hour notice when it's time to come back for a vote. So expect this to last well into the weekend, Eva.
All right, Tara Palmieri at the White House for us today.
Tara, thank you so much to talk about here. So let's bring in a ringer, our chief political analyst, Matthew Dowd. Matthew, good morning. Given that you've got lawmakers who aren't even in Washington and many on both sides show no signs of budging here, how do you see this impasse ending?
Well, I'm hopeful that this is like other shutdowns where it lasts 1, 2, or 3 days. But the problem, as you just mentioned, is Christmas Eve is 2 days away. Christmas Day is 3 days away. And most people have left town, though they could get them back in a relative hurry. I'm hoping they come to a short-term agreement where it extends this and keeps the government open through February, which is the original deal that everyone seemed to have agreed to. But there's no telling what's going to happen. Everybody is lined up in their corners. And the president, as was mentioned in the run-up to this, has said that he is responsible for the shutdown up until the last 24 hours. So it's going to be up to the president to compromise on this if we're going to get the government back open before Christmas Day.
So if this thing drags on, do you think the president takes the blame for that? And does it matter? And I mean, do the American people remember who caused which shutdown? We've had so many of them.
Well, I think it matters in two ways. The first is the president's already said in his own words that he'll take it. It's on him. He's responsible for this. And I think it feeds the storyline on the president that there is a level of incompetence and that there's disarray and dysfunction going on in this White House and this administration. So one, I think it hurts him there. But two, I think it hurts all of Washington because it looks like Washington continues to can't get the job done for the American people. Huge issues to be handled, infrastructure, immigration reform, the budget, all of those things. It looks like Washington can't handle it, and the president is on the top of the heap, the power of Washington, D.C., so ultimately the blame will fall on him, and any political problem will fall on the president.
Let's talk about the issue that appears to be at the center of all of this, and that's the border wall. This was the signature campaign promise for Donald Trump. He mentioned it at every rally. He said, we're going to build a wall. The Mexicans are going to pay for it. If he doesn't get it, if he doesn't get the funding for it right now, will he ever get it, given that Democrats are going to take over the House of Representatives in the new year?
Well, most people have said that they think it's impossible come January 3rd when the Democrats take over the House. I actually take a different look at it. I actually think he could get it done, but what he's going to have to do, which he hasn't done, is compromise on some big issues. And so I think the Democrats would go along with a wall if he allowed immigration reform, a path to citizenship, something he's been opposed to. So now he can get the wall, but he's going to have to do a series of compromises. And I actually think that could benefit Donald Trump politically if he was willing to basically say, I can get my wall, but I'm going to have to give on some big things.
Matthew Dowd, we always appreciate your analysis on a Saturday morning. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.